Inspiring interviews with today's top landlords. This is the Rental Income Podcast. And now, Dan Lane.
Everybody's got different goals and different reasons they're buying rental properties. But Jeff, in your case, why are you buying rentals?
I'm really trying to set up myself with a retirement, and I'm using them as like a 401k for my retirement down the line.
Is your plan by the time you retire to get everything paid off, or are you comfortable having some leverage?
I want to get everything paid off, Dan. I got 15-year mortgages on all my properties, and I'm just trying to get them paid down and go from there.
On the podcast today, we're going to talk more about Jeff's plan. I want to see what he's buying and how many rentals he's going to need to be able to retire. I also want to take a look at Jeff's portfolio. I'm curious to see how it's performing today with 15-year mortgages. A lot of times it can be very difficult to cash flow when you have a 15-year mortgage. So I want to see how he's holding up today and how things are going to look in the future when everything is paid off. The other thing I want to ask Jeff about is vacancy. Jeff has no vacancy across his rental portfolio. He rents his properties up as soon as the tenant gives notice that they're leaving. So I want to talk to him about how he's doing that. Joining us on the show today from Yorkville, Illinois is Jeff Mazur. We'll take a quick break to thank our sponsors. We'll come right back and talk to Jeff. It's a lot of work to find a really good rental property. And when you actually find that property, you want to make sure you're working with a lender that can get that loan closed. The lender that I recommend is Chaley Ridge from Ridge Lending Group. She's a nationwide lender, and her specialty is helping investors finance rental properties. She has a ton of loan programs, and she can find something customized to you for your situation. If you want to find out more or you're ready to get started today, just go to ridgelendinggroup.com. That's RIDGE lendinggroup.com, NMLS 42056.
Rental Income Podcast.
Jeff, let's start off talking about your portfolio. What does your portfolio look like?
I have 11 single-family homes. 10 of them are in Yorkville, Illinois. I got one in another suburb right next door. And they're basically 3 bedrooms or 2-bedroom units, and about a 1,500 square feet to 1,000 square feet, depending on the unit.
And what are the neighborhoods like?
Neighborhoods are medium income, and they're very nice, in a very nice part of town. And there's really no Section 8 in the areas I'm in. It's just working class people that are looking for a good home for themselves.
Would you say they're B-class neighborhoods?
Yeah, B-class for sure.
Okay, awesome. Now, you said that you're thinking of your rentals kind of like a 401k for retirement. Are you actually buying the properties in a 401k, or is that just kind of the way you're thinking things through in your head?
That's the way I'm thinking things through in my head. I'm pretty much just buying them with my money and keep going from there, and doing some cash out refis also.
Now, a 15-year mortgage. So you mentioned that you're using a lot of 15-year mortgages to buy properties. And we've talked about this before. I love the idea of a 15-year mortgage because you can get properties paid off so much quicker versus a 30-year mortgage. But what always trips me up is that you're going to make way less money cash flow wise with the 15-year mortgage. Does that... Is that hard? Like knowing that you're passing up on that monthly cash flow, or do you like, or I guess, are you seeing the long-term goal that's just going to help you get these properties paid off?
I see the long-term goal in it. And when I'm assessing a property for a possible purchase, I'm looking at if I can make $200-300 after all expenses, I'll kind of go for the deal. And so far, in the 6.5 years I've been doing this, I've been successful going that route.
To actually be having positive cash flow on a 15-year mortgage, you must be buying really good deals.
I'd like to say I'm doing a good job with that, Dan. Something that's helped me throughout the years is I own 11 properties, like I told you. 4 of them I've had to go through the MLS for purchases and a realtor. The other 7 I've been able to find on my own. through other investors. I look on Zillow for buy owners, and I'm able to save a lot of money that way between myself and the seller.
Can you give me an example, like just for one of your properties, what you paid for it and what it rents for?
One of the properties was a short sale. Ended up buying from a bank, which, as everybody knows, is a nightmare. I paid $119,000 for the property. Today, it's worth about $240,000 to $250,000. When I bought it 6 years ago, I was getting $1,575 a month for it, and now I'm up to $2,475.
Wow!
And I have done some upgrades. When I first bought it, it was listed as a 2-bedroom, 1,500 square feet with a big loft, which we then put a wall and a door in and a small closet, and I was able to list it as a 3-bedroom. And in this past year, we've actually put new floors in, painted everything, including we put new 6-panel pre-painted white doors in.
That's a really incredible rent increase. Was that over time, or has that just come recently?
I try to always raise my rents yearly. We were slowly raising it, and the rents, pretty much like all over, there's not many rentals in my town, and I've been able to increase it $200 to $300 a month over the last 2 years, actually.
That's a pretty big increase. Did you have a turnover when you increased the rent $200 to $300, or were your current tenants able to pay that?
This particular unit, Dan, I'm on my third tenant in it. The first tenant I had, it was a little bit of a struggle because they had income restraints. The second tenant, I actually took them out of one of my 2-bedroom units because their family grew, put them in my 3-bedroom, so I was able to increase them pretty easily. And then I had them for about a year or two in the unit, and they decided to move on and get a bigger home. And the next couple I just put in about 2 months ago, that was the market rate, and I was able to increase it another 200 from where I was.
That's really just awesome. I love hearing that, and that's I think something that people need to focus on more when they're buying rental properties. That the value and what the rent amount is when you buy it probably isn't going to be that way forever. So, I mean, really, like, so much wealth is created by just letting time go by and letting those rents go up and letting those properties appreciate. I really think that's awesome. Have you seen similar appreciation in the value and also the rent amount in your other properties?
Yes. I've had some 2-bedrooms. I bought 5 of them actually in the last year. Average purchase price for a 2-bedroom, 1,200 square feet was around 100 and we'll call it 130,000. And I was getting $1,875 a month for those. And now I'm up to about $2,000 a month for
Nice.
2-bedrooms.
That's great. Well, let's take a look at the numbers for your entire portfolio. So when you add up the rent for all 11 rental properties, how much do they rent for?
$22,600, Dan, is what I'm getting currently right now.
$22,600 a month. Okay. And then when we look at your mortgage payments, mortgage, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, how much is your total for all your mortgage payments every month?
It's about $12,000.
Okay. And then do you have anything else you're paying, maybe HOA bills or trash pickup or water?
Well, I got HOA bills, and that's about $2,800 a month.
$2,800. Okay, so your fixed expenses, your mortgage and your HOA, that's $14,800. So round that up maybe to $15,000. So you're making about $7,600 a month in cash flow after those expenses.
Correct.
Okay. Awesome. Now, how about vacancy? Do you have much vacancy?
Not really, Dan. Interestingly enough, basically, when I buy a unit, I pretty much have it rented, a security deposit, down payment from the customers, and they're moving in the day I close, and everything goes smooth. I've had
Okay.
very little vacancy.
And then say when that initial tenant moves out, you don't have much vacancy. You don't have much trouble filling your properties.
No, because what I do, Dan, is I kind of will give you an example. If someone's lease ends in June, I put the lease end date for June 28th, which gives me a day to maybe 2 days max to turn the unit, getting it clean, doing some touch up. And I've been lucky where I'll have a tenant move out on the 28th. By noon, I'll get the folks in there to clean it. And I got someone else sometimes moving in, around 5, 6 o'clock that night. And then I'm also picking up an extra 2 days in rent.
That's smart. So that gives you a couple of days to get the property cleaned up. I like that. I think that's a good idea. Yeah. Has anyone questioned that? Like why they're not able to stay for the whole month?
I do get some people, and my response always is, if you look at February, it's only 28 months, and that's what I'm charging you.
Okay.
So that's what I'm also charging you in June, for example.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a good idea. So now let's get back to your numbers here. So no vacancy or not much vacancy, and then for repairs, how do you budget for repairs?
My average repairs could be 1 month 1,000, the next month 25 to 3,000, let's say. And then when I do some added value remodels, let's say some paint, flooring, then I might have to dip into some of the savings that I've put aside, some personal savings.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. So, all right. So if we knock off, it sounds like it varies month to month, but somewhere $1,000 to $3,000, like that gives you, I don't know, somewhere in the neighborhood of about $5,000 a month in profit.
Yes.
Now that's really awesome. To have $5,000 a month with 15-year mortgages is really pretty remarkable. And so when you actually do retire and those mortgage payments aren't there anymore, I mean, that's going to be higher. Do you know off the top of your head what the principal and interest part of your mortgage is? Because you're still going to have the taxes and insurance. But for the principal and interest, do you know about what that is?
It's about $7,400 a month.
Wow. Okay. So you're going to have easily $12,000 a month in cash flow when you retire. Plus, those rents are going to go up. That's a really great retirement plan. I think that's a lot better than a 401k. That's pretty awesome.
That's why now, Dan, when I take some of the extra money, to me, I look at it as I'm kind of putting more money in my 401k, if you will, and I'm setting the units up where, I use the same paint for all my units, for example, the same color. I'm putting the same floor in, which I should get 15 to 20 years. Because I am putting the luxury vinyl in the units, which I notice has taken less wear and tear versus carpet, for example.
So would you say that your properties are kind of at almost like appearance wise the top of the market? Are your properties nicer than some of the other properties that you're competing with?
Yes, they are. And mainly something we didn't touch on. Most of my units do have stainless steel in them, appliances, instead of the regular refrigerator white, if you will. And as items do break, I do slowly replace them with stainless steel. Or, for example, I do have one tenant. I was trying to get her to stay an extra year. And her big thing was, Jeff, I really wish I had some stainless steel appliances. Wow. It's a single mom with 2 kids. So I felt, hey, let me go ahead and do it. There's not going to be much wear and tear on it. And I went ahead and did that for her as a value add, which is going to help me next year when her lease expires. And she's pretty much, I already know she's not going to go ahead and extend the lease out.
Yeah.
So I'll be ready to go. No vacancy, clean the unit. And I got somebody in there a day later.
Do you do that a lot? Like where you're improving properties while the tenants are in there?
So I actually just did that in the last 2 weeks. We had a 2 bedroom, 2 full bath. The master bathroom was the original, so about 20 years old, with the tub insert and the wall insert. And when I was trying to secure them as a customer, I said, hey, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this a beautiful bathroom for you. Showed them some pictures of ones that we've done in the past. And I had my contractor come in, took him about 10 days, so I didn't have any lag time. And since it was a newly married couple, they had the other bathroom they can use while their bathroom was getting done. I think it took us about 8 or 9 days to complete it.
Let's talk about how you finance the properties. So you mentioned that you bought a lot of your properties either off the MLS or for sale by owners. When you bought these properties, did you put down 20% down payments?
Yes, all my properties I had to put 20% down. Everything has gone through a bank. One of my banks then sold a couple off to a credit union. And then it gave me an idea. Why don't I just find my own credit union to start dealing with? And that's what I've done, built a relationship with them. They love my cash flow. And I believe I have 3 properties with a local credit union in town, which is something they've kind of gone away from, after 2008. And because of the relationship, the money down, they've given me 3 loans with them.
As far as coming up with the down payments, like how have you done that?
Well, I've done it through some bonuses I get quarterly and year-end bonuses. I'll save them up. And I've also taken a cash out refi actually on that first property I told you about that I bought for $119,000, because I did buy that for about $40,000 under the market value. And I've actually done 2 cash out refis on that property. So that has allowed me to buy 3 other properties.
Yeah, I love that. It's almost like your house is buying you another house.
Correct.
Let me ask you about your homeowners association. So you mentioned that all your properties are in an HOA. Has that been a benefit or has that been a hassle?
It's actually been a benefit. I just hate seeing the money go out monthly to the HOA, but it's actually been a benefit where I don't have to worry about the extra insurance. I actually do have walls in policy, and those are a lot less expensive than a full coverage policy. And I think those run me about $200 to $250 a year per property, because again, it is just walls in that I'm responsible for. And another benefit of the HOA, which took me about 2 years to just grasp the concept of paying so much money a month, is I don't have to worry about snow removal, grass cutting, lawn, maintenance as far as mulch, trimming trees, any of that stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of nice having an HOA, and also they make the neighborhood look nicer usually. So that's a benefit. One thing, I've got a couple of properties in an HOA, and I don't know if you've run into this, but I'm constantly getting violations. I mean, constantly, maybe once or twice a year. But like the neighbors, my tenants won't bring in their trash can after trash day. They'll leave it out there for a day, and I'll get a letter in the mail. Has stuff like that happened to you?
Yes, it does happen. What's nice is over the years, I've gotten to know the HOA. I've gone to a couple meetings, and in one community, I have 5 properties, and they now just call me if there's an issue.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so it just saves me the hassle, and it saves them a hassle, and they know I get it normally adjusted within a couple hours.
HOAs get a bad rap. Sure, they have a lot of rules you have to follow, and they can be difficult to deal with, but overall, I'm pretty happy with the HOAs that my rentals are in. I think they do a good job of making sure the neighborhood looks nice and making sure everyone's keeping their property up, that they're really not too much of a hassle to me. But I know every HOA is different, and that's definitely something you want to check out before you buy a rental property. If anybody is interested in reaching out to Jeff, I've got his contact information on the website. You can find it at rentalincomepodcast.com/episode 431. I'd like to thank Chaley Ridge from Ridge Lending Group for sponsoring today's episode. If you're looking to buy a rental property, whether you're just getting started and want to buy your first property, or you want to add to your portfolio, reach out to Chaley Ridge. She's a nationwide lender and she has tons and tons of loan programs. She can find something customized to you for your situation. If you want to set up a time to talk to Chaley or maybe have her look at a deal that you're thinking about buying, you can contact her at ridgelendinggroup.com. That's RIDGE lendinggroup.com, NMLS 42056. Thank you so much for checking out the podcast today. Make sure you hit the follow button and you'll be notified every single Tuesday when I put out a new interview. My name is Dan Lane, and this has been the Rental Income Podcast.